Nobody gives you power. You have to take it. Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 most powerful women in the world. For this list, we're looking at the most influential women across the board, covering areas like business, politics, philanthropy. You get the picture. We're not, however, including entertainers, as they deserve a list of their own. These women must also still be alive and active with their power.
For me, owning a network or being a part of a network is about continuing to use that platform to raise the consciousness.
Number 10. Ginni Rometty. The first woman on our list started out at IBM in 1981 as a mere systems engineer. 30 years later, IBM announced her as their first ever female president.
I like to say digital is not a destination, it's a foundation.
CEOs like Indra Nooyi of PepsiCo and Meg Whitman of Hewlett-Packard Enterprise impress, but Rometty is a cut above the rest.
Well, it's a good question to talk about strategy. And I think when you say who's got it right, I actually believe an important lesson is you build your own strategy.
As chairwoman, president, and CEO of IBM, she's in charge of one of America's most important companies.
Well, IBM today is a solutions company, but IBM has been a solutions company. The change is the kinds of problems that we solve.
Rometty's made Fortune magazine's 50 most powerful women in business list 10 years in a row, topping it in 2012, 13, and 14. That probably has something to do with the fact that her net worth is somewhere in the area of $45 million. Keep your eyes on Rometty, as she's made big promises for IBM's future.
You know, look, IBM is an iconic company. It's an important company to this world. And I never felt the most important thing was that I was a woman. That wasn't it. It was about being and doing the right things as CEO for IBM.
Number 9. Isabel dos Santos.
Well, as a young person, undoubtedly the key thing is knowledge. You really have to learn.
According to Forbes, this Azerbaijan-born Angolan isn't only the richest woman in Angola, but she's also the richest woman in Africa. That's not surprising, considering she has an estimated net worth of over $3 billion. But her wealth isn't the only thing that makes Isabel dos Santos so influential.
So education is really still our gap. I think if anyone wants to help Africa, they definitely need to look on how to help our universities and how to help us gain more knowledge.
The oldest daughter of Angolan President José Eduardo dos Santos, she started her first business, a nightclub on the Luanda Island, when she was just 24. She used this as a springboard to increase her business interests and investments around the world, in industries like telecommunications, media, and finance. From these, she has built a reputation as a smart, vibrant, and respectable businesswoman over the years.
I think there's a young generation of African women who are highly educated. They're also very exposed to the world, and they want to build industries, they want to create jobs.
Number 8. Park Geun-hye. Currently the first ever female to be elected president of South Korea and its first female head of state, Park Geun-hye has helped the country work towards massive gains, both financially and socially. She worked her way to the top, serving as chairwoman of the Grand National Party and as a member of the Korean National Assembly. Under her watch, and according to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development Gender Gap Index, South Korean women have seen a notably improved level of educational and health equality. She is currently working on building a creative economy for South Korea, and while her approval ratings fluctuate, she has received much praise for her handling of the noisy neighbors to the north.
The President and I reaffirm that we will by no means tolerate North Korea's threats and provocations, which have recently been escalating further.
She's diffused several difficult situations with North Korea and kept her country moving forward.
Security comes when the lives of its people are improved. It comes when people are free to pursue their happiness.
Number 7. Sonia Gandhi. The current president of the Indian National Congress Party and chairperson of the United Progressive Alliance, Sonia Gandhi holds one of the most powerful political positions in the world. As a foreign-born leader in India, the most populous democratic nation with over 1.3 billion citizens, Gandhi has strategically worked to build a progressive nation. Rather than becoming prime minister in 2004, she elected to remain leader of the UPA as she could have more influence there. Still, she nominated the current Prime Minister Manmohan Singh and also has her son, Rahul, in Parliament. Many praise Gandhi's leadership as she continues to help India overcome gender and ethnic prejudices.
We must have the courage to confront these social evils and fight against them.
Number 6. Marilyn Hewson. In 2013, her net worth was $25 million. It quickly became $34 million. Curious how that happened? After becoming CEO of Lockheed Martin, one of the world's biggest defense contractors that year, she churned out record profits.
We announced that we are in the process of acquiring Sikorsky, which is a helicopter company, and they provide helicopter and services. And we're really very excited. It's about a $9 billion deal for our company of about $45 billion. That's a pretty significant acquisition.
Her personal financial boost was the reward for her success. Since then, she's kept the company progressive. Under her leadership, Lockheed Martin has branched out into areas of defense such as cybersecurity and alternative energy.
But at Lockheed Martin, we live on the cutting edge of physics, material science, technology, and engineering. We obsess over things most people only imagine.
Additionally, she serves on the board of directors for Sandia National Laboratories. They do energy research for the U.S. government. And DuPont, one of the world's largest chemical companies. Needless to say, she's a busy woman. But somehow, brilliantly, she always finds success.
I spend a lot of time with world leaders around the world. I'm engaged in a lot of global security conferences and air shows, and certainly it's not an issue in the Department of Defense or on Capitol Hill.
Number 5, Hillary Clinton. At this point, is there anyone out there who doesn't know Hillary's name? She's had an illustrious career in U.S. politics, initially becoming part of public consciousness when she served as First Lady under her husband Bill Clinton's U.S. presidency.
And we are here to find common ground so that we may help bring new dignity and respect to women and girls all over the world.
Her real success, however, came later. She served as a senator, representing the state of New York from 2001 to 2009. From there, she served as the United States Secretary of State until 2013.
It is an overwhelming honor to be sworn in to assume this position on behalf of our country.
Of course, as of 2015, she's most known for being the most promising candidate to become the first ever female president of the United States.
I'm going to fight until every little girl in America knows she can grow up to be anything she wants, even President of the United States.
After failing to gain the 2008 Democratic nomination, she finds herself the frontrunner for the 2016 election 8 years later. Oh yeah, one more thing. She's also worth $31 million.
You know, this is a huge election. You never know what might happen. Let's get rid of the people that don't agree with us and only talk to the people who do. You could do that without a teleprompter.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. All right, yeah.
Number 4, Christine Lagarde.
In the yearbook, you said, please, no more math. How did someone who hates math become the most important woman on the international financial scene?
Many of the women on this list exert power over their own individual countries. Christine Lagarde is just a little different. She's in charge of 189 countries. In 2011, she was appointed the first ever female managing director of the International Monetary Fund. For those unaware, the IMF works cooperatively with its countries to secure world financial stability, facilitate economic growth, and lessen world poverty. When she took the helm, the world was still working to recover from the financial crisis of the late 2000s. Lagarde has overseen positive global growth and has also changed economic understandings.
But essentially, if you bring more women to the job market, you create value, makes economic sense, and growth is improved.
She has placed an emphasis on the progressive idea of increasing the female labor force as a way to reduce poverty and inequality.
If you ask many women who are pioneers in their own field, they will often acknowledge that being a single woman or being a small minority is both hard and an opportunity.
Number 3, Janet Yellen. Speaking of money, we move on to the chair of the Board of Governors of the world's most powerful bank, the Federal Reserve. As the central banking system of the United States, the Fed conducts the national monetary policy and regulates the nation's banks.
She's quietly shaping a lot of thinking, and she's certainly going to be shaping the future of the American economy.
As the first female chairperson of the Federal Reserve, Yellen is in charge of arguably the most important economy in the world.
Earlier today, the Federal Open Market Committee decided to raise the target range for the federal funds rate by 1/4 percentage point, bringing it to 1/4 to 1/2%.
Coming off the Great Recession, she's consistently worked to reduce the Fed's monthly asset purchases of $85 billion. She's also had the responsibility to rein in the power of banks to reduce the possibility of another recession. Even in the company of fellow financial juggernauts like, say, Abigail Johnson, the president and CEO of investment firm Fidelity International, Yellen is likely to still be the most important person in the room.
Even with surprises and global events, Yellen is sure to continue her evidence-based approach to policy and keep calm and carry on.
Number 2, Melinda Gates. So far on this list, we've seen the power of politicians and businesswomen. But Melinda is different. She exerts the power of philanthropy.
Having people see that other people are making change with philanthropy, I mean, these are people who have created their own businesses, put their own ingenuity behind incredible ideas. If they put their ideas and their brain behind philanthropy, they can change the world.
As co-founder and co-chair of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, she is arguably the world's most influential philanthropist and ambassador for global development.
So we have to invest in the science for women, and we have to invest in the on-the-ground partnerships.
Since establishing the foundation with her husband in 2000, the Gates have donated over $30 billion. Her efforts are expansive, covering areas including poverty, renewable energy, and education.
We targeted 15-year-olds because they're really the ones that need to put the investments in now if we're going to get changes over the next 50 or 30 years, because these are long-term problems that we're talking about with time and energy.
Recently, she has placed an emphasis on working to improve equality and justice for women. In 2012, she pledged $560 million towards improving female access to contraception in third world countries. Without question, she works to improve the world every single day.
There's something about turning 50 that, at least for me, I look more at the end of my life and say, how much time do I have and what do I want to accomplish?
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
She came to feminism in midlife, convincing the Supreme Court women were equal under the Constitution.
Will you raise your right hand?
Once appointed to the court, she became known for her scathing and meticulous dissents, often read out loud.
Because these girls are our girls. They are us. They each have the spark of something extraordinary inside of them, just like our daughters and our sons.
And I love the people of my country. And I couldn't, if I would say, be deaf to the call of so millions of people asking me to come back to my country to lead the process that we need to, I would say, achieve in this new period in Chile.
I hope that memories of all this year's happy events will brighten our lives for many years to come. I will continue to treasure and draw inspiration from the countless kindnesses shown to me in this country and throughout the Commonwealth. Thank you all.
Number 1, Angela Merkel. Our top spot goes to one of the most important political leaders in Europe. She's done so much, but we're just going to focus on her work as German Chancellor. Currently in her third term, Merkel helped push Germany through the global economic crisis caused by the recession and secure one of the best economies in the world. Not only did she help Germany, but she also helped the rest of Europe too. Described as the de facto leader of the European Union, Merkel's Germany provided bailouts and support for fellow EU countries, eventually stabilizing the Eurozone. She's led the charge to support immigrants fleeing violent nations, proving her commitment beyond just Germany and to the entire world.
By viewing the refugees as victims to be rescued rather than invaders to be repelled, the woman raised behind the Iron Curtain gambled on freedom.
Do you agree with our list?
There will come a time.
It's gonna come back. Yeah, you were right.
Who do you think is the most powerful woman in the world? For more fascinating top 10s published daily, be sure to subscribe to MsMojo.
I'm gonna go unscripted. I'm gonna go unscripted.
Good. Get rid of the script. Get rid of the teleprompter.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, just be liberated.
Yep. Where were we?